everyone. Thank you so much for watching this today. I'm really, really pleased to have Jack Mattison with me of Social Agendas Marketing. Thank you for being with me, Jack.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Today, we're going to be talking about turning your social media into a sales machine. And we're going to focus a little bit around paid ads, which Jack is very, very knowledgeable on, and I absolutely am not. So I'm really, really looking forward to hearing more about this. But first of all, Jack, can you just introduce yourself to our listeners, watchers, and let them know a little bit about yourself, your business journey, and what you're doing now?
Absolutely. Yeah, been a pleasure. So my name's Jack Mattison. I'm actually the co-owner of Social Agendas Marketing. So it's me and my business partner, Aaron Branch, that both own the business. But what we specialize in is, I guess, what we'll be talking about today. So paid advertisements, specifically through Facebook and Instagram at the moment. But we're very much a performance-based business. So we focus, in a nutshell, of course, on generating more revenue for all types of businesses, all kinds of industries, through social media. And we've been around now for just over 6 years. So hopefully, I'd like to think that we know a thing or two about it. Personally, I've been in business for just over 4 years now. So I got involved with Aaron around about that time. So yeah, fingers crossed again that I know enough.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Well, you definitely know more than I do. That's brilliant. So how did you get into the paid ads space, if you like?
Yeah, so great question. It's probably a little bit of a long answer as well, but I'll try.
That's fine. We got time. We got time.
So my background before I actually got involved in social media marketing was typical. For those of you listening, by the way, you've probably gathered by now that I'm from Birmingham. So, I guess a typical brummie, let's say, left school, went straight into hands-on labour. Long story short, didn't enjoy it, and started to look for ways that I could make money online because I'd like to say I'm pretty young. I'm 27 at the moment. When I got started, I was around about 23, and I knew that there was money to be made in the online world and that it was only going to keep growing. So I started to look at avenues and how I could tap into that marketplace. And this is the beauty of paid ads. As soon as I started to search for it and start to look for it, paid advertisements started hitting me left, right, and center about this is how to build a social media marketing agency. This is how to build an online business, all of these things. And that was my route into it. I started to get hit with courses and I guess really just started to invest in myself. Took a few online courses. And that is actually how I met my business partner, Aaron, because he was running some more one-to-one mentorship at the time. And that's where that transition started. Yeah.
Brilliant. So for people watching, can you please explain what paid ads are? I know that might sound like a really silly question, but I think it's really important because I don't know about you, but quite often, like I'll say things and I just assume people know sometimes what I'm talking about, especially in tax. And then I have to remember that actually my audience probably don't. And that's my job to explain it to them. So if you can literally just explain what paid ads are and why they're so beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. So paid advertisements is essentially all of these social media platforms that we use on a day-to-day basis now. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, even YouTube, these are all social media platforms. YouTube slowly becoming the new TV these days. So, but they all, a lot of them, well, you're starting to see it on TikTok now. They have massive organic growth when you first get started. That's how they reel people in. But then eventually, when they've got enough people on the platforms, they then think, right, okay, we're going to monetize this now. And we're going to use all of this data that we own. And we're going to enable business owners, entrepreneurs, individuals, influencers to use that data, but they're going to have to pay for it. So you'll start to see that TikTok will eventually start to become a pay-to-play platform, as we call it. So it's essentially, that's what social media is, or social media platforms do. They build these platforms, people use them, it's entertaining, especially TikTok. I'm going to use TikTok as an example because it's essentially Instagram 10 years ago. that's what paid ads are. It's how you can use social media to advertise your business to literally millions of, depends on your budget, but millions of people every single month. For example, Social Agendas, our business, we spend between 10 to 15,000 pound a month on paid ads at the moment.
Wow. To
However,
literally
those
to
of you
market
that are
your own
listening-
business.
Yeah. But for those of you that are listening that might think, oh my God, I haven't got 10 to 15 grand a month to spend on advertisements.
Yeah.
My staff cost enough. You know? You don't need those kind of budgets. It's just, as long as you've got a budget towards it, it can have an impact on your business. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's exactly what paid ads are. It's just a way of advertising your business, using the data that these platforms have acquired, and marketing your business through social media to the masses, because eventually they cut the organic growth. So it becomes a kind of, like I say, pay to play platform.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly what happened with Facebook. I was using Facebook organically for my business when I first started it, did really, really well, a couple of years, you know, built up a nice following. And when I first started having videos made about 4 or 5 years ago, they were made for Facebook. And, you know, I got thousands of views just uploading a video. And then very quickly, the organic reach just, you know, fell off a cliff. And at the same time, I moved over to LinkedIn, which still has brilliant organic reach. But I think I've made the most of like the last 3 years on the platform, because that's, you know, it won't continue forever. And yeah, TikTok, I mean, you get lost for hours just scrolling TikTok, like it's so addictive. But I love it. I love it regardless. But yeah, you're right. I think, you know, they all draw you in, don't they? And then it's like, right now if you want to reach your target audience or reach enough people, you've got to pay. So
absolutely. Yeah.
So for someone out there, so for a business owner out there, that's thinking, oh, I don't know, I've never done paid ads, I don't know kind of where to start. Where would they start? And obviously they're going to come to a specialist, but also, is it right for every business owner? Should everyone be thinking I can do paid ads, or is it like, actually no, make sure you're a goods business or whatever? Great
question. So the place to start really is just by it's I guess build the page first. Like the way that we say it is, and I'll go into a bit more detail as to what I mean by build the page, but social media, your actual page is your Facebook page, your Instagram page, even your TikTok page. This is where they get to see their posts, your stories, and similar to our personal brands. That is now, you need to look at that as your new shop front. So it's kind of, okay, if someone was walking down the high street, you'd make sure that your shop front looks appealing and is welcoming. It's the exact same for your Instagram pages on the organic side, because, and again, I'll get into that in a moment, but it massively helps what the advertisements or how the advertisements perform. So the place to start, first of all, is by actually making sure that your shop front, Instagram, Facebook page looks appealing. So there's content on there. So get content, make sure that there's value in the content as well, which is, you know, you'll probably agree with me on here. You've done a great job at that already. But that's where to start first of all. So build the page, and then once you've started to, you don't need massive amounts either, even just 12 posts on the actual page itself, then start to look at running some advertisements, because you'll look like you're actually a real operating business, which you probably are. So
you don't want to drive people to a blank page, do you? So
yeah,
just saying, like, but you know, I don't think people would necessarily think like that. So I think that's really useful information.
Yeah. It's especially when you look at it as your shop front, then it becomes okay. That makes a little bit more sense to me now. And is it right for every business? So another great question there. And actually, I think I could use an example here with a company that we're actually in talks with right now for, non-disclosures, etc. I won't mention the name of the business, and for any competitors that are watching here.
Yeah, exactly. That's the real reason.
Yeah. We're actually in talks with a company at the moment that edit a lot of the TV shows that we see at the moment. So Take Me Out and what's
Wow.
the other one? Too Hot to Handle, you know, these kind of reality TV shows. They essentially edit all of the videos before they, you know, air.
Mhm.
So for a business like that, they're not going to have instant success on social media. It's going to take them a lot longer, and it's essentially just building the brand, because that's where everyone is anyway. Everyone's sitting on social media. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the objectives just change slightly dependent on what sort of industry you're in, and the conversion, like for a business like that, they will gain new business from social media, but after they've really built the brand, enough people have seen them, they've put themselves in front of the right people, because again, everyone is on social media. But then when you compare that kind of company, you know, and they deal with like millions and millions of pounds in contracts per person. So it's not like a £10 t-shirt, you know, it's completely different on that front. But when you then look at an e-commerce business where you send, it's kind of like a really simple funnel. You send traffic from Facebook and Instagram to the website, and then that person buys the product shipped, and that's it. It's like really simple there. Those kind of businesses, if you get the strategy right, if the content's right, if everything works and is optimized for a conversion, then it's more of an instant impact. Like that's where you can kind of see like some of our clients that spend £2,000 a month on ads and bring back £10,000-20,000 in sales directly from those adverts. Every business should be on it. It's just, and again, budgets come into play, because you know, not everyone can pump thousands into just brand awareness. You know, it's a privilege. But even if it's just organically, like you should always be working on your social media. So I couldn't agree with that more. For everyone.
It is, and that's the thing. Like, sort of paid ads aside, so we're just talking social media. Like, it is absolutely right for everyone. And I have had this kind of debate for years, you know, with business owners, and you know, I've said, look, I'm an accountant. I work in one of the most arguably boring industries that exist. I don't have anything nice to take photos of, you know, I don't, and yet I have built my business online, like, you know, and I will continue to do that. I will continue to, the growth is exponential, you know, it's just getting more and more and more as time goes on. But that's because of how much time I've invested in my online presence. And you know, so if it's possible for accounts, it's absolutely possible for anyone. And I will have that argument no matter what people do for a living.
I'll be standing behind you.
Yeah, exactly. Me and you will be like, yes, you can do it. No, that's great. That's really, really useful. So so paid ads then, I know, and I've had conversations with other people about this. How much is it? You know, how long's a piece of string? Like you can pay what you want to pay, but the results will be directly related to what you invest. And it's the same with anything. You know, it's exactly the same with anything. Again, have this conversation with accounts clients, because people will go, well, I just want someone to submit my figures at the end of the year. You know, I'm not interested in anything else. Well, yeah, well, then you'll get a budget accountant for, you know, £100 a month, whatever. Or then another company will say, no, I want a partnership with an accountant. I want management accountants. I want insights. I want support. I want quick turnarounds. I want all of these things. Well, they're going to pay a lot more, and you get what you pay for. So I assume it's exactly the same with paid ads. It's, you can pay a tiny amount, you can pay a huge amount, but your results will be relative. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a huge element of what you've just mentioned there that is right, and it kind of leads back to the pay to play platform. You know, let's call it analogy that I've brought up there. So it's, if you spend £100 on advertisements, then you're not really going to gain much from it, because and it all leads down to, this is where I'm going to get a bit technical now. So it all leads down to when you kind of look into the finer details of how social media works, it's just data. That is it. It's all data. You know, and anyone that's watching this right now, as soon as you finish the podcast, go and just search something random, anything, or even just something that you're thinking you want to buy in the near future. Just search it anywhere, Google, Facebook, search it absolutely anywhere. And I guarantee you that advertisements will start hitting you.
They
the
will.
way that
They do.
yeah.
So creepy. Like even if you think it, even if you had a conversation with someone, it
Yeah.
comes up. It's like, oh my god.
and and the reason for that is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, they know everything that we are doing. If you have an iPhone, and this is why this, for anyone listening again, I don't know about yourself, Jeri, as well, but there was something that came into play about a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit longer, called an iOS 14 update, which is essentially Facebook and Instagram arguing with Apple about who owns what data. That's what that was in a nutshell. So they know everything that we're doing. Absolutely everything. What you're speaking about on the phone. Yeah, it's scary. It's scary. It's exciting, but it's scary and intrusive.
It's kind of like you know it, but when someone actually says it, you're like, oh God, they really do. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's,
And I'm a sucker. I'm the person that the paid ad comes up in my feed. Like, I had one the other day. A paid ad just popped up for a really nice jumpsuit, and I was like, love that. Click, click, bought. Within like 5 seconds, and I'm like, I'm the person. I'm the person. I'm the consumer that these people are selling to. I'm the sucker that's falling for it. Literally, there's millions of us.
But I'm that person.
Yeah. Even me though, to this day, like I've just started playing golf, and I'm just, my fiance isn't too happy about it, but I'm just constantly buying stuff for golf now, whether it's new jackets or new clubs. And this advertisement hit me for a company, and they're selling golf clubs, and I literally clicked through and bought some golf clubs. So even me, like I know how this all works. Like I know the back end of it, and I know the psychology behind it.
And you're still falling for it.
Yeah, I still get caught, but I also, there's an element of it, I appreciate a good advertisement as well. So it kind of it does push me a little bit to, oh, it's a good ad, I'm gonna pay something towards it. But yeah, it is, we say on average, and this is just because over the years we've seen the cost of advertising on social media rise as well. What you could have, I mean, when I got started, you could have spent £500 and got the equivalent to what you'd get for £1,000 now. So it has been rising, but that's really where you need to be, is if you can be close to that £1,000 a month mark for Facebook and Instagram advertisements specifically, and TikTok ads as well, then you're going to be in a good position and be able to, like I say, it leads back to what I just mentioned then with the data, is you're paying for data. So you have to also test, okay, this audience didn't work. This one did. If you haven't got enough money, you can't test. So yeah, got a bit technical there, but
no, that's good though. It's really useful for people watching and listening. It's really, really useful information, and I'm learning loads from this, so I love it. So what is the best platform for paid ads?
So the best platform still to this day, most cost effective, and it's the reason why it's still the main service that we offer at Social Agendas as well. We are running TikTok ads for some of our clients at the moment, but Facebook and Instagram, the best platforms at the moment, still the most cost effective. If you actually, and again, for anyone that's watching this, any of the listeners, if you think of your network right now and think about how many people don't have Facebook and Instagram, you probably would struggle to count them on one hand. Facebook and Instagram is still the go-to platforms. Probably it's moving towards Instagram a little bit more now. Facebook's becoming a little bit more, I don't know what the right terminology is, but let's say the older generation. It's
I think it's just Instagram is just taking over a bit more, isn't it? Really, and TikTok even more so. I heard something the other day about TikTok's now the most used. Is it search engine or something? It's overtaking Google or something. I was just like,
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, and
it is crazy.
That's why we are running TikTok ads at the moment for some of our clients, but for some of our clients that have a younger demographic that they can target, there is it's building, it's growing. So eventually we'll be running advertisements for our clients on there. We'll roll that out completely eventually when we feel like it's the right time. But to answer your question in short, yes, still Facebook and Instagram, most cost effective platform to run paid ads on social media for sure.
Okay, cool. So just to make this a little bit more relative then,
Yeah.
if so I come to you and I go, right, Jack, I've just built a digital course. It's an hours long course, and I want to put that out online and do paid ads. I'm going to sell the course for £47. Each course going to be £47.
Yeah.
Where do we go with that conversation? Like, what's the first thing we talk about?
Yeah.
Do you help clients with the whole thing? Like, do you manage it entirely? Do you design the ads for them? Do you talk to them about pricing? Because you might go, actually, there's no point in charging 47, Jeri. You need to charge 97 because, or actually that's too high. You know, you want to reel people in, so you need to bring it out. Like, are you doing all of that for them? Like, where do we, where does the conversation go?
Love that. Yeah. So we kind of pride ourselves on, we have this privilege of seeing the back end of so many different businesses. Like we've worked with just over 1,000 businesses now in the last 6 years. So we've seen amazing. So much of the back end of so many different companies. And we actually have our own online training as well. So we actually train other agencies. So for these kind of conversations, we kind of position ourselves as we're almost consultants, as much as we're going to, yes, we'll run the ads and other elements to it, which I can go into in a moment. But we very much get very, very hands-on, because like you just mentioned a good point there. Do we get involved with the costing of things? So, and the answer to that is yes. But the reason being is because there's always the cost of acquiring a new customer for most businesses is always going to be the biggest cost, right? As soon as someone's bought from you, naturally, then if you're providing a good service and product, they'll come back and buy again, and it becomes cheaper and cheaper. But we kind of, like, for example, the example that you've just brought up there with yourself, if you're going to build an online course, what we'd actually say to do is have almost like tiers. So you've got like and I'll use this as the example actually, because we've already built it out. So we have 3 different products for the training side of our business. The sort of entry level, which really gives people an insight into who we are, and more so Aaron, my business partner, Aaron Branch, he's actually written a book called The First 365. That was all about his first year in business as an agency owner. So our training is very tailored towards agencies on this side of the business. So that's kind of the entry level. It's only like £10. Like, read the book, gain value from it, build the trust of us as well. But then we also get your details. So we've got numbers, emails, so we can start, bringing you closer, essentially. So that's like the entry level. And of course, it doesn't cost a lot either to get people to sort of purchase a book. It just brings people closer. Yeah. Then we have something we created, which is our online modules called the Facebook Ads Weekender modules. A bit of a mouthful there, but that in a nutshell is where we teach people how to run Facebook and Instagram ads. And this is for agencies. It's for business owners in any kind of industry, even for you, for yourself as well. If you wanted to learn this, or your team wanted to learn this, that's who that's designed for. So that's like stage 2 in the funnel. And that's priced at £1,000 plus VAT there for those modules. Then we've also got, which is kind of something you mentioned earlier on, you've got your one-to-one training, haven't you? Which is, it's fantastic, but it can take up a lot of time as well. And we all have a business that we need to focus on, which is, for me, Social Agendas, and for yourself, Smooth. So they're a lot more expensive. That's where we're talking about now, almost tapping into the back end of these businesses as like silent directors without any shares. But that's the approach that we have. And this is where we'll be looking more towards the £3,000 to £5,000 mark now, which is very, very intense, takes up a lot of our time, a lot of our resource. But that's what we'd say, if you come to me and we had that conversation, that's one thing that I'd say is, okay, well, let's give everyone an option, for the people, because we never used to do that. Yeah. And it's almost as if you're kind of doing that. You almost feel like, I still want to help these people. Like, we still want to help these people, but, finances sometimes just aren't there. So I might have gone off a tangent a little bit there, but hopefully that makes sense. But
no, that's great. That's so useful. And I think the tiered pricing approach is a great concept. And, you know, generally psychologically people usually go for the medium.
Yeah.
Whatever, in whatever scenario, you know, even if you go and get your car washed, you know, people generally play it safe and go, well, I don't just want to wash it, like, and it, you know, I want the medium one. I don't need like the full all singing all dancing one, as long as the car looks clean, but I'm not going to go to the bottom one. So people go the middle, and it's, you see that approach in so many businesses, so many industries, and it does make sense to have that tiered pricing. And it's interesting to know that as a company you offer that level of help and advice to businesses that go, I want to do paid ads, but I don't know where to start. Because, you know, not most people are not going to come to you and go, right, I would like to spend £1,000 a month on this product. Here's my advert that I would like to use. Like, they're not all going to be, you know, have it all together like that. So I think it's useful for people to know that there are options there, and you can really hold their hand. And, you know, because even for me, and I know social media very well, and all that kind of marketing stuff, like paid ads is like, I haven't got a clue. Like, I genuinely haven't got a clue about it. Absolutely minefield. And then most people say it to me about accounts, but I'm like, you know, this is me. I don't understand about paid ads. So this is really, really useful. So, so just going back to my digital course idea again, because I feel like I can understand it.
Yeah.
So say I say to you, right, it's going to be £47 for my digital course, and I'm targeting accountants. That is who I want to buy my digital course. I only want it to go out to accountants.
Yeah.
Would you say you can spend £500 a month, or you can spend £1,000 a month, or you can spend £10,000 a month, and this is what you're likely to get? Is that how it works? Are you able to give people an idea about their ROI, or is it a kind of a bit of guesswork? Because obviously you don't really know who's going to buy, but I'm assuming you've built up data over the years. So like, how does that side of it work?
Yeah. So it really depends. So for example, if you did turn around and say, right, Jack, here's my budget, this is what we're working with, you know, what can I expect to see back? If we've worked in your industry before, then it's much easier for us to kind of give you a bit more of an insight into how that would work. Or if you've spent money on advertisements before, you know, maybe you'd spent it for a different reason though, to acquire, you know, more clients in the business as opposed to more on the training side, then there's still a lot of data for us to actually look at. So we'd almost do an audit to then give you, because we want to give you as much clarity as we possibly can, but at the same time, we're very realistic. So if we kind of don't know, then we'd just be totally honest and say, well, I'd love to tell you, but we've got to kind of let the data tell us before we can feed that back to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. You know, people have got to be realistic. It's like when people go, how much tax can you save me? And I'm like, what? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, the most amount that is able to be saved legally. Like, that's how much. So no, I totally get what you're saying there. I think that's interesting. So can people do their own paid ads? I mean, obviously you offer it for a service, but a lot of our viewers might be out there thinking, you know what, I just want to give it a bash myself and see if I get anything from it. And, you know, and if they do, kind of, where do they start with that?
Absolutely. It's actually something that we promote, because we was a startup business once, and we know that, well, both of us were. And when you're getting started, it's literally, I mean, every penny always counts.
There is no budget.
There's no budget. You know, unless you've got a really, really supportive network of family and friends, you know, a lot of the time you're starting with nothing. So, or you've got a very small amount to put into, you know, the business. So we have two sides. I'll answer that question by sort of running through how we usually help, because we've got two sides to social agendas. We've got the done for you side of the company, and then we've got the done with you side of the company. So this is where we actually train business owners in all types of industries how to actually do it themselves. So rather than us doing it for you, because when I actually got involved in the company, this was when we just started to introduce this. It would always be like, if a business doesn't have the budget, we're kind of like, oh, okay, well, you know, we're sorry we can't help.
Yeah.
Wish you all the best. Let's connect in 6 months. But no one really gains anything, you know. the business, how are they going to grow over the next 6 months if they can't market it effectively?
Yeah.
Yes, there's other avenues, but that was the kind of conversations, and we thought, well, why don't we just help people do it themselves? It becomes more cost effective. They only have to pay us once, then just pay for the consulting fee and do it yourselves. We'll look after you, we'll support you. But then if you can feel confident and comfortable from our guidance and learn how to run ads yourself, and then go and do that, even for the next year, we'd like to think that when you get to that point where the business can now, it's almost paying for itself, you'd consider us as the go-to agency that you'd say, right, before I hire a marketing department, I'm going to go and hand it over to Social Agendas. So the answer to that is absolutely. And we advise it for any businesses that are in that sort of, their startup phase, they're in the first year, even 2 years of their business. It definitely learn to do it yourself, but get expert advice. And this is going to sound crazy, but try not to listen to Facebook and Instagram. They have their own sort of team that will say, you can make more money here, but believe me, they're incentivized on you spending more money, not you making more money. Whereas we're the opposite. We need you to make money, or you're never going to come back to us. So
that's true. That's very true. No, that's good. And it's good to know that people can do it themselves, and that you recommend that as well, because I think that's important. And again, great idea and a business model to go, there's an issue here with turning people away. I love that. I think, I had that with my coaching business. A lot of people couldn't afford my one-to-one coaching, so they just couldn't coach with me. So then I was like, do you know what, I'll start a group of 10 people. You can all just pay £100 a month, and I'll answer your questions all together on a 1 hour Zoom call. And it's great for me. It's actually more profitable for me, but it means that everybody gets to still have me as their coach, but just at a much more affordable rate, rather than just turning them away. So it's very similar to what you've done and gone, okay, you can't afford the budget for whatever, but we can help you learn how to do it yourself. So that's really similar. And I like that a lot.
Can I just add something to that as well, which might be really help? You mentioned earlier on that Facebook ads is like a different language. It's completely sort of daunting and the unknown for a lot of people when you're getting started. It is the case, but learning how to actually run advertisements and how they work is actually the easy part. So that bit isn't actually the scary part. You'll learn that literally in a matter of days through the right training and support. Where the real challenge is getting people to do what you want them to do through a phone. So it's all about psychology, which is one thing that we're really heavy on, because you are literally convincing people that are scrolling sort of, I guess sometimes in a brain dead state. You're just trying to look at what people are doing and being nosy and trying to entertain yourself. You have to grab them right there and then. And then once you've got their attention, then you've got to spur them or persuade them to take action. So it's all psychology. But I just thought I'd add that bit there.
No, and definitely, and that's really important. I think that's so true, because to get someone to stop scrolling, it's got to be, pretty good, hasn't it? Because otherwise you are just So, and we know, because we've mentioned it already about, being the culprits, the ones that actually buy stuff from the ads. So no, that's great. Listen, we'll wrap it up there. That's been so useful. Thank you so much. Where can people find you if they want to inquire about Social Agendas or any of the things that you've mentioned today, and you might be able to help them? Where do they go?
Absolutely, yeah. So the best place to find us is actually on Instagram. So my handle is Jack, that's JACK with 2 underscores, then Mattison, MATTISON. And you can also find my business partner on Instagram as well. Either one of us, it doesn't matter who you decide to reach out to. His Instagram handle is Aaron, that's AARON _branch, and that's BRANCH. So that's the best place to find us. If you want to do some more research on us as well, feel free to visit our website, which is www.socialagendas.com. and you'll see a bunch of information and testimonials there. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Jeri. Really appreciate it.
I feel like I've learnt stuff, and always a pleasure talking to you, Jack. And we'll put all of your contact details in the description for this video. So anybody that's watching, if you do want to contact Jack or find out any more about social agendas and how they can help you, the details will be in the description. So yeah, that is the end of this podcast. Thank you everybody for watching and listening, and yeah, until next time. Thanks. Bye.